So today for Wellness Wednesday, have you been reflecting on how things in your life have changed since the pandemic? Maybe your friendships aren't what they were pre-pandemic. And if so, you're not alone. Clinical psychologist Anna Maria Tosco is here to explain how our friendship style might have changed over the last couple of years. Good to have you back.
Hi, Anne-Marie. Thanks for having me.
What are, first of all, the different types of friendship styles that people are experiencing?
Right. So what we're talking about today essentially is well documented in the scientific literature, and it's actually called attachment style, which is essentially how we act, think, and feel in our relationships. But of course, that includes our friendships.
Okay. After understanding that there are different kinds, are there different types?
Definitely.
Okay, what are they?
So essentially, we're going to be talking about the secure style, the anxious style, and the avoidant style. And these are the things that I see commonly in my office, Anne-Marie, by fully functioning adults just like you and me.
After you understand that there are three different kinds of friendship styles, how do you identify which style resonates with us the most?
Yeah, so essentially with friendship style, what you have to know is how do you act in conflict? So let's talk about them. So we have the secure style, which essentially is someone who is comfortable with getting close to the friendships, in the friendships rather.
Okay.
So essentially the person who is able to get into the emotions, who's able to get, down into the profound stuff, and is not afraid when things get tough. They're not going to avoid. So how is this in their friendships? Essentially what happens with these individuals is they're just easy to be with. They don't put pressure on you unnecessarily, and they don't run away when times get tough, which is not the same for the other two.
Right, so let's talk about the other two.
So the anxious style essentially is someone who really wants that closeness, but then is so afraid that something's going to go wrong. They're not going to like me anymore. They're going to abandon me. So they're the people who in conflict kind of do this, I like to call it too frequent communication. Hey, where are you? It's 3 o'clock. Are you here? Are you mad at me? Are we okay? Hello, 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 question mark, right? That person. And so what happens there in their friendships is that they cause people to unfortunately back away, which is so unfortunate because they want that closeness.
Okay, what about the third one?
And the the avoidant style. So essentially with the avoidant, what happens there is they're not comfortable with the closeness. So they would rather stay at a distance. They would rather be self-reliant and more independent. And so in conflict, what happens? Unfortunately, these are the individuals who have a tendency to ghost, right? So what happens in their friendships? Essentially, people are often angry with them. They're frustrated. They feel like they can't trust. They feel like this person is insensitive or cold, which is actually not true, Anne-Marie. This person is very sensitive, but they feel it's safer to back away. They feel it's safer to have those kinds of relationships.
It's an interesting word, safer. How does knowing all of this information, now that you were going through the list going, oh, do I identify here, do I identify there? How does knowing it actually help in our friendship?
Right. So knowing your style can allow you to ameliorate those things that are not so great, those bad habits that lie within some of these styles. So of course, we can all kind of conclude that the avoidant, for example, is allowed to leave. I want to stress that. The avoidant can leave and get a little bit of space, but has to circle back sooner than they usually do.
Sure.
The anxious one, on the other hand, wants an answer now because they're so worried, they're so insecure. So that person, I say this lovingly, has to back off a little bit, and then can circle back a little later than they usually do. So when you know your style, you can kind of adjust. Easier said than done, of course, Anne-Marie, which is why a little bit of therapy on the side wouldn't help.
And we started off by framing this within the pandemic. So if you understand this about yourself, has it changed? Do you find with your clients? Has it changed who they choose to be friendships with now that we've had this time of reflection in pandemic?
Right. So in the pandemic, essentially what's happened is, it's horrible, and it was so horrible that now we deserve to decide what we want in our relationships and our friendships. So why not start by understanding what your style is, and then, kind of improve and increase the quality of your friendships. And also, it doesn't hurt to understand your friends' styles as well. It's kind of very, very rich.
Okay, so as a clinical psychologist, let me ask you then, is it better to continue on in the same vein in the patterns now that you've identified them, or is it okay to say, maybe this friendship isn't for me, or maybe I want to pursue this one further? Right,
so it depends. I like it when friendship styles kind of match.
Yeah.
So listen, if you're with someone who's a little too avoidant for you, then maybe you invest a little less time. If you're with someone who's a bit too anxious for you and is a little bit too kind of pushy and maybe insecure, it might be time to step away a little bit. I love it when friendship styles match, but I think the key is always know your style and do your best to kind of improve yourself, right? I'm a psychologist after all. That's
why we have you here. All right, Anna Maria, always a fascinating conversation with you. This is a good one. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.